On your feet! Get them going!
I wanna be is a two. Oh, I should have brushed my hair. It looks greasy, but it's just wet. I just patted it down. So I washed my hand. Hi, good afternoon, good evening. Drink my coffee. Cool glasses like Art Deco. Anyways, hi everyone. Welcome to Cross Examinations today. Darwin versus Jesus. Yes, Justin the unicorn. Over there, Justin the rhino. I don't know why he doesn't change his name to the proper to the proper title there, Justin. He's arguing for theistic evolution in the Discord, and so I thought I'd just come on and go through this video he sent me. Where's my stinking hold on a second. I gotta blow my nose. I'm gonna mute this time. Annoying. So yeah, I got his video all queued up and ready to go. It's gonna be lots of fun. Look, man, if you're a theistic evolutionist, it's not something that hinges on your salvation does not hinge on how suckered you have been by evolution. You can be wrong about this topic and still go to be resurrected. I'm still not. I'm pretty sure we just get resurrected. But anyways, that's a different topic too. I don't want to squirrel all my topics all in the first 2 minutes. So hello Tina. First here, King Bob says this is gonna be like Jesus versus Satan boxing match from South Park. I saw a clip of it. I don't think I saw that whole thing. What's up, Justin? Without Lies is here. Dark Admiral March hair is actually on time today. No, it just looks wet, Mike, not greasy. Yeah. It doesn't feel wet, which is weird because it didn't look like this before I did it with the water. What is it with water? Speaking of water, you know those little taro ant traps? Right? They got the poison in them. That's basically it's borax and some sort of sugary thing to attract the cat. So what they do is that the ants will take the sugary treat. They won't eat it then, because what they're doing is they're collecting it for the entire colony, and they take that little bit of it and they take it back to the colony. And what they're doing is they're poisoning their food source. Well, I've discovered, man, ants have been going crazy here. Ants okay for you guys? Ants have been going nutty here. And they stopped going to the taro traps. And I was like, what is going on? Why aren't they going to my traps? And then out of the blue, so weird, ants started coming out of like a crack in my faucet down into the sink of the faucet. So it's like just in the sink region. And I had one of these taro traps. And I just thought, I don't know why. I'm just going to drip it on them. I dripped one. And they started going to the stuff. And I'm like, what the? They won't go in the trap. But like it just dripped it. I just dumped the whole thing out all around. And they were all they just went right to it. And I'm like, that is weird. And then I closed the bathroom. I went to church. I came back. And they were no longer going to it. It was all still there. But some of them were just like walking right over it. It was too dry. Somehow this stuff dries so quickly that it's not appealing to the ants. Right? However, the ants stopped coming, so I think they took enough back to the colony to poison the colony. So, just an interesting thing. If your ant traps aren't working, find a trail of those ants and just drip a little bit along the trail. And they'll take it. Well, it killed them today. Or they stopped coming anyways. And then you just wipe it up after the fact. So another tip from your grandpa Mike. Grandpa Mike. Good afternoon, Tanner. What's up? Today we're going to start the stream discussing proper grooming. I don't even have this is the closest thing I have to a brush in here, and it's for my erasers. I don't think it's going to work on my, nope. Actually, well, it is kind of creating a smooth, oh my, look at what is, looks like I found a new brush, ladies and gentlemen. Look how smooth that's making my hair. I would not suggest this. Now I'm going to get oil for my scalp on my pages as I'm wiping erasers. Look what I've done. All right. This psychotic fundamentalist has arrived. That's another little back and forth Justin and I were having. See, he was using fundamentalist as a pejorative, as many atheists do, calling it the modern vernacular. I'm a fundamentalist. I believe the Bible is true in the truest sense of truth. That's fundamentalism, and I adhere to the old ways, and I don't abide modern reinterpretations of what the Bible. That's what being a fundamentalist is. Justin was saying it's like, people who don't want you to drink or dance, and I'm like, well, I mean, I know a lot of Christians who don't drink. Actually, I think my son doesn't drink. My oldest. Or dance. And I'm like, drinking and dancing are both in the Bible, and they're endorsed. So that's not fundamentalism. That's not fundamental to the Bible. That there might be some pastors out there telling you not to drink. And honestly, aside from the movie Footloose, I don't know. I've never heard of someone actually saying you can't dance. You can't, like, I can get, like, not putting teenagers together in a slow dance, because I remember what it was like being a teenager. It was slow dancing. Oh, I'm not even going to think about it. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, my wife is a professional dancer, so, and I drink every single night. That's a highball glass. I mean, this is what yeah. Anyways, Justin says he can't change his name. He has a reputation to uphold. You have a higher calling, Unicornus. A higher calling. King pet grooming. Just keep in mind that the opposite must also be true. Mike can be completely wrong and still be saved. Yay. Yeah, but I'm not. Oh, you got a notification today. Awesome. Yeah, the liquid taro ant killer. You just put a drop down and they carry back the herd colony. Right, but they're designed so you crack the top off and you just leave it there, and then they come into the trap, which usually works. But it, like, stopped working. Which is weird, because even if I put new traps out there, they wouldn't go to the new traps. But just blip, 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 dripping it. Ant problems solved, not evolved. The ants have been awful this summer here in Florida too, at least in my yard. They're everywhere. Yeah, this has been, like, probably the worst year for ants I can recall living here. And I've been here for 20 years now. Hey, Missy. I had a coffee in one hand and garden hose in the other hand a couple days ago. An ant crawled up my leg and got me around 5. Ooh, oh, you got ants. Your ants bite. We've just got regular black ants here. No reds. No reds. Uncle Mike. No. You can call me G-chan Mike-san. Paw Mike. Hands yellow, heart red. Oh no, Mike is evolving. No, it's called growing. There are no ants. There are new birds. CIA spy bug. Oh. The internet ruined the term grooming. That's true. That's Mike's slicker brush. How am I looking now? Pretty slick. The modern term of fundamentalist. I think that is a fictitious term of fundamentalist. That's what I'm saying. The modern term of fundamentalist is what atheists use to to insult Christian fundamentalists. People like me, and probably half of this chat or more, are fundamentalists. So you can't, sorry, I'm not going to let the modern people take that term away from us. That's, if you believe in the Bible and you believe everything in the Bible is literal and true, except for where it's meant to be, a parable or a poem or something like that. There are different, you can be a fundamentalist and understand there are different versions of language, not versions, but different uses of language. God doesn't actually have chicken wings to bury your nest, to cover you, whatever. You are a classic fundamentalist. No, you're just gonna need to stop using that word as a pejorative, Justin. By the way, Justin's my nephew's name, but don't call me Uncle Mike. I was happy to see the trad wife trend taking off. Yeah, I think, man, it's guys like Andrew Wilson. He's the one I watched probably the most. So, like, a lot of these, like just traditional. I don't want to blame it on the manosphere, because there's a lot of douche nozzles in the manosphere. But that sort of, that more conservative, not insane. Oh my gosh, I was watching. I don't even know the guy from Fresh and Fit. He was on a panel on Tim Pool, and he was he was just saying the dumbest stuff. It's not misandry. Misandry is when you hate men. What is it when you hate women? Anyways, he was clearly like that. I'm not talking about that, but like the traditional conservative. It's like, look, women are meant to have babies. You know how we know? Because they do it even by accident. And I was just thinking about one of the arguments, because I listen to these arguments all the stinking time. One of the arguments, like, that just makes so much sense is, why are you taking your childbearing years and trying to have a career with them? Why don't you wait until you have your children, you spend your time with your children, raising them, and then go have a career? Why is that so hard? Why do you have to have a career in your 20s when, honestly, most people who are good at stuff, besides sports, they're in their 40s anyways? Right? You're not looking to 20-year-olds. Well, maybe in engineering, computers and stuff. But even in that case, my dad was in his 50s, actually, even in his 60s, early 60s, at Sun Microsystems, bunch of 20, 30-year-olds around him. Who did they always come to for answers? My dad. In his 50s, 60s, 50s and 60s, right? You're not going to be the best at something unless it's sports. There's caveats to this, but generally speaking, in careers, you're not going to be the best during your childbearing years, right? So take those childbearing years, bury your freaking children. You want it all? That's what women say. We can have it all. You can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time. There's only so much time. There's a wonderful window God gave you where you are naturally bursting with everything you need physically to bear children. You've got the energy, you've got the hormones, you've got everything. Your body's in the right shape, the right position, everything perfect. Bear them children, raise them children. Boom! Figure out what you want to do and have yourself a career. You got the rest of your life. At some point, you don't even have to worry about having a period anymore. You just ride that right through. Have a career. You just can't have them at the same time. One is going to destroy the other. Your career is going to destroy your kids, or your kids are going to destroy your career. You can't have it all. I mean, your career is going to destroy your kids. Is your relationship with your kids will suffer. Why? Because you're off having a career. It's not really rocket science. You can't have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time. Is that not the simplest solution? Have your babies. If you're one of these people, oh, I only want 2 children. Fine, then we will not hit replacement levels of population. But just do your 2 kids, get your tubes tied, and go have your career after they're, I don't know, when they start high school. Right? I mean, they're probably still going to need you, but a phone call's enough anyways. Through adolescence, or up to adolescence, you need to be there for your kids. The necessary years, I would say, up until they're, actually, I mean, wait till they're out of high school. Wait till they're driving, at least. When they can start driving themselves to school, go launch your career. That's more or less what my mom did. But it was because my dad wouldn't let her have a job. But ultimately, I think that's what was best for her. Man, she was a fantastic manager and basically builder of sushi restaurants. She was like, she knew everything. And it was like we were in high school before she started working. She started working as a waitress. Very shortly after, just a few years as a waitress, she started her own sushi restaurant with a guy named Shin. That was a very successful, because my mom was old enough to not be some dumb 20-year-old waitress not knowing what she was doing. And bam, my mom had her career that lasted until, when did she retire? I think she retired in her 60s. She retired in her 60s. So she just like up and quit. She had built 2 separate restaurants, and then after she had built and separated from the guy who she had built the second restaurant with, she went to work for a friend of hers at another restaurant, and she was like a freaking manager there. You can have it all. You can have a career. You can freaking save up. She saved up hundreds of thousands of dollars, honestly. She did very, very well. You can have it all. You just can't have it all at the same time. Look, men can't have it all. I hate to tell you this. We can have kids, but our relationship with our kids suffers because we are working so much. But we understand that someone has to be there to take care of and nurture the children. My wife is actually the one that's in a great situation, because I work at home. Therefore, if she needs to go do something, I can take time out and do it, because I'm here at this desk all day anyways working. I work entirely too much. I'm here for my kids, but I'm not like here for my kids, like constantly taking them out and doing stuff like would be fun to do, would be great to do, and would help our relationship, right? Making experiences, making memories. But my butt has to work. I am not, even though there are rumors that I am a smillionaire. I am not independently wealthy, so I have to work. Let's see. I think dancing is cringe, but I don't care if anyone does. Church denominations have a ban on dancing and drinking, amongst other things. What church denomination has a ban on dancing and drinking? Justin. Mormons. That's not a church. That's a cult. Drinking is not healthy, but it's not a sin. Actually, drinking is healthy. My doctor told me to have 2 drinks a night. So I know I generally don't listen to doctors, but I listen to that one. Uh, sorry, not Mormons. The other one. Oh, Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, also a cult. Also a cult. So yeah, cults don't count. We're talking about church. Hey, King Bob, Melissa. You having a problem with ants? Use grits or gas. Grits? You mean like grits? Kiss my grits? Excessive drinking is sin because it is drunkenness. Correct. Some forms of alcohol are unhealthy because of the way they are made. That's curious. What form of alcohol is unhealthy by the way it's made? DJ says there are red ants in SoCal, but I haven't seen them for a while. Where's the last place I saw red ants? I was up in Pine Valley. The ants there were like, I swear. See, a normal ant is about, I'm going to say 3/16 of an inch. These ants were like 1.5, probably 2 centimeters big, if even that. They were like the midgets of the ant world up in Pine Valley. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's not really important, is it? No. None of this is important. Okay, I got to scroll down. And then, if you believe in the Bible, you are a Christian, not a fundamentalist. If you believe in the Bible is literal, I will look up the... I posted it to you. I don't even have to look it up. Fundamentalism. A fundamentalist is someone who adheres strictly to the basic principles or teachings of a religion, ideology, or belief system, often rejecting modern interpretations or changes. In a religious context, such as Christianity, it typically refers to those who interpret sacred texts literally and emphasize traditional doctrines. That is fundamentalism. You're using some weird modern pejorative version that, honestly, dude, this is a word that atheists use to try to tear down people like me and people like half the people in this chat room. You need to stop using it as a pejorative. You're allowing them to steal the language from you. Mike should dress like an Amish man for Halloween. Hey, now you can't use the modern term of trad wife and kick out other definitions of fundamentalist. That's hypocritical. The modern term of trad wife is a contraction of traditional wife. It still means exactly the same thing. I'm not altering the meaning of traditional wife. Trad wife. Eon Monk, what's up, dude? Welcome. Let's dance like it's 69 AD, or better yet, 71 AD, to remain nice and fit. I mean, as far as I can tell, you're referencing the destruction of the temple, so I'm not really sure. Please explain. Yes, misogyny. I love this idea as Friar Tuckman and balls of misogyny. Yes, Marion Gaines. Hello, Elon Monk. Probably because many women would realize that they want to devote their lives to their families, and if they did that, the ultra-feminists would lose. His story of man is not even that long, relatively speaking. Einstein. History of man. His story. Relatively speaking. All right. I'm technically manosphere adjacent. Hello, Tina and all saints. Welcome, Eon Monk. Yes, like, share, do all that fun stuff. Yes, Mike, it's stupidly simple, yet some of us are much more stupid than we thought we knew better. Yeah. Probably not a good thing that we're not above replacement level, but I'm not going to help whatsoever. Never say never, man. Doran Beckford. As long as we can agree about the Israelites taking the Canaanites' gods as their own. No, we can't, Doran, because that argument was completely decimated. I understand that you are incapable of comprehending that because you're incapable of critical thinking, but please do go watch some lectures or read a book on critical thinking so that you can come to the place where you can recognize when you are wrong. Like, I recognize that I was wrong because I used to be a theistic evolutionist, like Justin is here. But I just kept researching it until I realized I was wrong, and then I changed my mind. Doran, we don't and never will, but thank you for playing. I know, right? I love how this episode is titled Darwin versus Jesus, and then, oh, look, squirrel. I know. Justin says, Methodist had a ban on dancing, still does, and drinking, which was released a couple of years ago. Methodist is the one that's pro-LGBTQIAWXYZ, right? I'm fairly certain the Methodists lost the plot a long time ago. Eon says, the tongue of the humanoid may be vestigial, since it sets on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell? Interesting. I know nothing about Jehovah's Witnesses, so I don't know how cultish they are. They're quite cultish. We have fire ants here too. They suck. Mike puts the fun in fundamentalist. Fire ants. All right, ants. I'm not going to talk about ants anymore. No more ants. Azaria archives. Do Twitter comments work? They do. You are. Oh, let me highlight you. There you go. Dancing burns calories, bro. True. Survival of the fittest. What's up, student of God? Hey, Mike. Had a atheist ask me what's wrong with him believing he's a moral arbiter. You mean arbiter of the universe? Well, that puts him in the place of God. So unless he thinks he's God, then he's probably needs a little straitjacket. I never claim to be a theistic evolutionist. I find their arguments compelling, and I find that most people misrepresent them. I was a theistic evolutionist. That's when I became a Christian. I was still, seeped in 20 plus years of evolutionary indoctrination. I never even knew there was any evidence that contradicted evolution because they will not teach any of that in any school. They won't teach it on PBS. They won't teach it on Nova. They won't teach it in the media. So it was very interesting that this entire, I'm not even going to say it's esoteric. It was just hidden from the general public. I guess that is esoteric, isn't it? But all of these facts, all of this reality, you know what? I even have one of the issues of National Geographic. There's this. It's just one of the pieces of evidence. Gosh, I should go find it. I know it's on the other bookshelf. Can you guys give me two shakes? Dang it. My wife just reorganized the entire bookshelf, and my National Geographics are not on it. Anyways, okay, so back then in the 90s, there was one of the books on this topic. they had to do an illustration of a photograph that's in National Geographic because National Geographic didn't want it being used in a creationist book. So they had to do a drawing of the photograph. But I found that issue of National Geographic. I think it's August 1986 or 84. One or the other. Anyways, there's a, what do they call them? Is it a geostrate log? There's a log, a tree, standing up with millions of years of strata going down its thing. These happen. It's either the world's oldest tree that lived through millions of years of strata being built up around it, or that strata was laid down in a catastrophic flood. And what happens is, in these flood conditions, a log will sometimes, or a tree will sometimes float, like there's a heavy end or whatever. And it just gets, as the strata is laying down, it kind of cements it, and then it just, the strata's in the water, guys, from the global flood. The different layers of sediment come down. You see this very, very often in, like, lakes. Anyways, and it's stacked up, and then the tree inside becomes petrified and becomes part of the rock. And then, like, when they're doing excavations and whatnot, sometimes they'll find one of these trees standing straight up inside millions and tens and hundreds of millions of years of strata that built up around it. Stuff like that you'd never see in a biology book. You'd never see in whatever. That they showed it in National Geographic was startling enough, but then that Nat Geo wouldn't let them use it in the creationist book was also a little telling. But yeah, their arguments, I found the arguments compelling when I was a theistic evolutionist, again, because I didn't know about all of the evidence that shows that all of their evidence is speculative, tentative, and just false. Only some Methodists now split. Okay. All right. Should we click through? I was going to go through this video. All right. Let me present some of this video. The gospel is based on a 6-day creation week. Then he beheld everything that he made, and it was very good. I agree with you. But let's see what this guy says. I have on 1.5 speed. So atheists don't like each other very much. See, there it is. Evangelical fundamentalists. And then look at the picture he uses. Even they've gotten, I think this guy's a Christian. Is this guy a Christian, Justin? He is, right? But he's a theistic evolutionist. And he is using fundamentalist as a pejorative. Oh my gosh, what the heck is in my eye? And then he puts this picture of an angry, screaming guy with a Bible. Like, really?
But one thing they agree on is that evolution contradicts the Bible. But they're both wrong. People think this because the Bible says God made everything. And they assume that if life developed by the natural process of evolution, it means God didn't make it. But they would...
Or developed by natural processes. Yeah. I'm just going to keep going until I have something. This is obvious. Well, gosh dang it. Sorry. I'm so distracted. I think maybe it's an eyelash or something. This is going to bug me. What? Now my face is all red. Oh, let's just keep going.
Say God made them, even though they developed by a natural process. God didn't just snap his fingers.
He's comparing the natural development from zygote to old man with changes from one species to another.
To make them fully formed, they developed over time. But God was still in charge of the whole process, because God made space and time. So God made things evolve exactly as he wanted them to. Yes.
Objection. Assumption, Your Honor.
Evolution depends on random mutations, but nothing is truly random since God controls everything. Proverbs 16:33 says that even when humans make a supposedly random decision, like rolling dice.
Your Honor, there's never been proven to be. This is the thing. This guy is constantly like going to this. Oh, evolution proves this. Science discovered that. Science realized this, as if science is some by caveat, intellectually pure and true always, as if he's putting science, the amalgam of science, as in place of God, right? Science says this, so therefore we must conform our beliefs of what the Bible means to what science says. Show me a random mutation that's beneficial, because that's part of the issue with evolution, right? It requires mutation. Mutation is almost always detrimental to the species. Sometimes it's benign. It's never beneficial. Show me a beneficial mutation that is new information, as opposed to genetic variability already existent within a species. Like, oh, I don't know, the size of a beak, or the color of hair, or the length of a nose, or whatever, right? A genetic mutation would be like a sixth thumb or a sixth finger, whatever, like the cats in Hemingway House, right? So he's already starting with these presumptions, because he's presuming evolution to be true, because he presumes that that scientists are always above board and open to all new ideas, but just just rigorously making certain that everything they believe is true, rather than, like I said, you would never see any of the evidence against evolution. If you've watched, I highly suggest, if you've never seen it, go watch Ben. What's his name? Ben from Bueller. He did a movie called Expelled. It was a documentary on how, if you are in academia, doesn't matter if you have a PhD in your field, if you go against the Darwinian evolutionist dogma, and that's what it is, it's dogma, you will be fired. If you have tenure, your papers will not be, you won't get peer reviewed. They will do everything they can within their legal limit to shut you down and shut you up. If you dare say you're like Dolphin Lambert. Dolphin Lambert is a PhD in, I think it was biology. And he was an atheist, and he was an evolutionist, and he just kept studying this stuff instead of just accepting and repeating the dogma. He kept looking into this stuff, and he started going, wait a minute, this doesn't quite add up. And then he just kept going in that direction. He followed that squirrel. There's on the screen. There's a squirrel on the screen. And it led him to reject Darwinian evolution by following, as an atheist, following the evidence. It led him right off the trail. And then eventually he became a creationist. After he became a creationist, he's like, wow, then this Bible thing might be true. That he didn't become a Christian until going through that entire process of discovering that his life's work was a freaking lie. And then he became a creationist. Then he started writing books and stuff like that. So yes, you can be a non-religious and understand. My brother doesn't believe in evolution. He's an agnostic still to this day. So anyways, yeah. And again, I came from an agnostic background. I didn't just fall, oh, the Bible's true? Well, gosh, evolution must be a lie then. But this guy's in that middle stage, theistic evolution, which it doesn't work. Guys, I hate to tell you it doesn't work. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom because I am kind of ignoring. Ben Stein, thank you. Win Ben Stein's Money was such a great game show. The video sound is too low. Oh, I'm sorry. Boop. All right. Polydactyl, yes. Science said smoking was healthy. Also, lobotomy was a good idea. Governments having a long history of using science as propaganda. True. Before that German fellow with the mustache made eugenics a bad word, science was all for it. Science was very pro eugenics before a certain Holocaust happened. David once danced before the Lord with all his might. Amen. Absolutely. All right. Scrolling down. It is more reasonable to believe that life comes from a life giver than it is to believe that life comes from sinners. True. William Graves, welcome. Why dinosaurs arrived after Jesus died at 33 years old ago? William, would you do me the great favor of rewording that in a way that I can understand what you're saying? Thank you. Mike, what form of evolution did you believe? I just believed everything. I mean, Darwinian, just everything. High school biology and physiology and everything I ever heard from every media source, my dad, everything. It was all, evolution was just a fact as far as I knew. That's just how we came along, right? Morality arrived before Christianity. True, because God is morality. And yeah, that's the correct timeline, Duran. Thank you for pointing that out. Sounds like neo-Darwinism. I don't agree with that at all. Okay. I can remember seeing that old black and white video with the Surgeon General sitting around a table claiming that smoking was not addicting. Yeah. All right.
God still determines the outcome. In the Bible, there are two ways that God does things. The first is supernaturally, like the parting of the Red Sea, where God actually suspends the laws of nature to directly use his miraculous power. But God also does things providentially, like in the stories of Esther and Joseph, where God arranges all events in history to accomplish his purpose. That's why Genesis 50:20 says, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. Who caused Joseph to be sold into slavery? Was it his brothers or God? The answer is both. His brothers meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. God is like the author, and our universe is like a story that the author is writing. Just because things cause other things in stories doesn't mean the author didn't cause all of it. So creationists would say that the creation of all life in the world was supernatural.
Wait, you can't hear the audio? Correct, Larry. Can you not hear the audio? More like Darluz. Dad jokes, ladies and gentlemen. Larry's got the dad jokes. We hear it through your mic. Oh, okay. Let me reshare that. Share screen. That's weird. I could have sworn I hit the audio tab. All right. Tell me if it's echoing.
But we would say that the creation of the world was providential, and the evolution of all life is something that God wrote into the story of our world. But even if
we would say, he would say,
evolution is theoretically compatible with creation, people still make a lot of biblical objections we need to address. Genesis 1 says the earth was made in...
Okay, here we go. This is called day-age theory. This is what I believe, because the word day in the Bible, I believe, is muth, and it can also be interpreted as age. The problem, we can actually skip through all this. This is why I was a theistic evolutionist, because I believe, I'm just going to play it now, and this will kind of explain away why I believed that the day-age theory lined up with evolution.
6 days. But we have to ask what day means here. Moses, who wrote Genesis 1, also writes in Psalm 90 that a day for the Lord is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. At least that's how Peter interprets Moses in 2 Peter. The Bible and...
So apparently that means that the earth, the creation took 6,000 years.
Modern science teach us time is relative. After all, the ancient Near Eastern culture that produced Genesis had a much more flexible concept of time because they didn't have clocks like we do. A day...
No, but you know what they had? They had the morning, they had the evening, and they had the morning. And they knew what a day was. And in the 6 days of creation, every day, it finishes with the evening and the morning were the first day. The evening and the morning were the second day. The evening and the morning were the third day, etc., etc., etc.
For them wasn't defined by this idea of 24 hours. It was defined by the sun, which was...
Right. And he's going to make the argument. Well, I'll just let him make the argument.
Visible in the sky until the 4th day. So it doesn't make sense to say that the days in Genesis are literal 24-hour Earth days. If you have a more...
It doesn't make sense. There's no reason not to. You don't think God would understand that even if the sun is not shining, God doesn't know what an evening and a morning are? It's putting a very fine point on the fact that he's talking about a rotation of the earth, the evening and the morning. Even if you live in Antarctica and there's no sun for 24 hours, you have an evening and a morning. If you live in the Arctic and it's sunny 24 hours a day for 30 days. Do I have that backwards? Either way, north, south poles, they still have evening and morning, even if they don't have a sun or they do have a sun for the totality of either of those time spans. There's an evening and there's a morning. It doesn't necessitate a change in the height of the sun in the sky. So, sorry, that is not a valid argument.
Flexible definition of day, then Genesis 1 lines up beautifully with the biological timeline of when things developed on Earth. First, light became visible on Earth, then the Earth was covered in water, then volcanic action made dry land appear, then photosynthetic life cleared the sky so you could see the sun, moon, and stars. Remember, the Bible doesn't say the sun, moon, and stars were created on day 4, just that they appeared in the sky on day 4. Science has revealed that before photosynthetic life produced
This is what science has revealed. And then he goes to a total conjecture. He does this multiple times in this video. It's really irritating.
Oxygen, the sky was too thick and cloudy to see the sun, moon, and stars. Then
science has revealed exactly what the primordial Earth looked like. No, it hasn't. Science has conjectured and speculated what the primordial Earth looked like, but there's no revealing of this axiomatic truth. This guy is... I can't. But again, this is what I believed. There was a time I believed this, and it was between me just holding on to that, everything that I had been indoctrinated into as an evolution believing normal American kid raised in public school by his agnostic father, until I started doing that the research against all of this stuff.
Cambrian explosion produced lots of aquatic life, the water creatures, and after that, mammals formed on land, and then humans formed. Genesis 1 first says God created Adam, or man, but then it says God created Ha-Adam, or the man, which implies first a general creation of human creatures, and then a specific creation of Adam.
That one I've never heard before. I'm not going to look it up.
Some people say God made Adam from the dust, so that means Adam did not come from other creatures. But the Bible says you were made from...
Wait. Some people... Did he say some people say?
Some people say God made Adam from...
Some people, as in God. God said he formed Adam from the dust. What is this some people argument he's making? We are being made in the image of Jesus. Yay. Tina says the earliest known sundials were used by ancient Egyptians around 1500 BC. with simpler shadow clocks used even earlier to divide daylight into parts. Ba-ba-ba. The problem with these folks is that they're trying to make man-made theories line up with God's word. Right. Yeah. Is the book of Genesis, some people, yeah, that's how this, I mean, I'm sure this guy's a believer, but, and again, you can believe all this nonsense and still be saved. This is not a salvific issue. But if you take the time to go through all the evidence, I've been studying this stuff for 30 years. It's not like, I mean, it didn't take me 30 years to figure out that I'd been lied to my entire life. But if you look through the evidence, it's like, here's a funny thing. So when you believe the Bible is literally true, because you're a fundamentalist like that, it's much easier for someone on the other side to say, well, what about this one thing that makes it seem like the Bible's not true? Well, you have 50,000 other things that have already proven to you that the Bible is true. So maybe that one thing is a misinterpretation, or is a misunderstanding, or is based on your own assumptions, or someone else's assumptions, or scientifically approved assumptions. The consensus of science has said a thing, like smoking is good for you. Right? But you have all the other weight of the evidence to say that the Bible is true. So even if there's that one thing and you don't have an answer for it, trust that there is an answer. However, on the flip side, let's flip this over. I already gave you one example that proves that strata doesn't take millions of years to form. Polystrate. That's what they're called. Polystrate logs. Polystrate logs exist. There's photos of them. You could probably go and see one for yourself. A tree cannot live through millions and millions and millions and tens of millions and possibly hundreds of millions of years of strata being formed around it. That just is a literal impossibility. It cannot happen. What does that mean? That means that strata that all of these scientists agree to, which took up to hundreds of millions of years to form, either the tree's true and real, or their theory is true and real. They cannot both be true and real. Therefore, because the tree is a true thing and the theory is made up in somebody's brain, you have to go with the true thing, the real, actual, physical, real thing that contradicts their entire model of the age of the Earth, planetary formation even. I mean, there's so many levels of their theories that fall apart because polystrate trees exist. Polystrate meaning multistrata. Trees that stand straight up through multiple strata and sometimes hundreds of millions of years. Because those trees exist, those theories are now untenable, impossible. But do they maintain their theories? Yes, because they don't care if something contradicts their theory. It's like playing tennis against the curtains. They won't hit back. They'll just change their well, maybe something else. Well, maybe something else. Well, maybe something else. Well, maybe something else. And they can do that because none of what they're saying is based on axiom, things that are necessarily true. Everything they believe in is based on assumption, things they assume to be true. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to base my entire worldview on the assumptions of other men. I don't believe in trees. All right. Oh, Doran, do you want to do slavery again? We did slavery for like an entire week. I know you were here, weren't you?
From the dust, so that means Adam did not come from other creatures. But the Bible says you were made from the dust, but you still had ancestors, so why couldn't Adam have ancestors as well? Science has revealed that the first single-celled life did come from the ground.
Again, with the science has revealed bullcrap. Abiogenesis is scientifically, mathematically, in every possible way, impossible. But this clown, sorry, I don't want to call you a clown. This ignoramus says science has revealed that we were made from the clay and it just turned into life. Baloney? Hogwash? Cod swallop. So this is how you know this guy hasn't done the research. When he says science has revealed, he's full of crap. Mike, we don't have enough time to go over slavery again today. I know. We did like a whole week on it. It's like every day it came up. Although I will point out, I was talking to a friend at church about this yesterday, and he's like, you know what slavery was in the ancient world? It was basically welfare. I mean, he didn't use the term welfare. He said it was a social safety net, which I correlate to welfare. Because when you're destitute in the ancient world, or you're in debt, you have no other options. The one thing you could do in order to stay alive and maintain a livelihood, besides just going to the street and becoming a beggar, which was an option, but generally speaking, if you were an able-bodied person, nobody's going to give you money in the ancient world. You know why? Because you had the option of doing, what did you have the option of doing instead of being a beggar? You could go ask somebody else to take you in as a slave. That was the social safety net in much of the ancient world, probably everywhere around the world. But anyways, that's another topic. I don't want to delve into it, but that was an angle I talked about it here, but using the phrase social safety net, I never thought about particularly.
And everything else is descended from that. But some people ask, what about the image of God?
Science has revealed that everything is descended from the impossible abiogenesis cell. And look, he even made a virus. This is a virus right here. This isn't a good cell. This is like COVID.
God. Because if humans gradually evolved from animals, then at what point did we start being made in the image of God? But we have to ask, is the image of God mainly physical or spiritual? Because if it's physical, well, chimpanzees share 98% of the same DNA as us, and celery has 50% of the same DNA as us. Are chimpanzees 98% in the image of...
Do chimpanzees look like us? And yes, his argument, it's spiritual, but his whole argument is fallacious. So let's go.
God? Is celery 50% in the image of God? So we need to say the image of God is mainly a spiritual status. This is the traditional interpretation. The image of God is a rational soul, which humans have, but other animals don't, even if they're structurally very similar. So we went from animals to people in the image of God once we got this rational soul. A long time ago, the earth was crawling with a bunch of almost human creatures, maybe Neanderthals or other hominids, and God...
Neanderthals are human. I just did this on Twitter. Someone posted an image of a Neanderthal. And they're like, this is what man looked like 150,000 years ago or something like that. Of course, that they're wrong according to science, because Neanderthals weren't man. They were an offshoot of Homo sapien. However, I contradict that by saying, what are you talking about? They bred... Even their own argument is that Neanderthals bred themselves with ancient man, which makes them what? Makes them ancient man. But I posted an image of there's a boxer turned politician who, like, the guy they were showing of the Neanderthal, like, looked just like this guy who's like the boxer who became a politician. I'm like, bro, that's rude. Neanderthals are still among us.
God set apart one of them, put him in the Garden of Eden, and gave him the breath of life, which is the rational soul.
King Bob says the 98% shared genetics has also been debunked. I believe it's down to close to high 70s, low 80s. Wow, so we're almost the same as a celery. Yeah, it's weird to think that the same basic designs, genetically speaking, came from a singular designer. Oh my gosh, we're over an hour already. Oh my gosh. Dang it. I could do this all day, but I can't. All right. C. Volcano eruption is dangerous after climate or before either, if both after then. Bro, what? William, what is your native language? Because I don't understand a word you're saying. I know, we're over now. They're not humans, nor an offshoot. Darwin, you've already proven you're incapable of critical thinking, so maybe not. Hey, does anybody know where Objective Ethics went? He said he had a video where he did a debate and he won it. I want to EFAP that video. So somebody please find that for me. Objective Ethics, if you're out there, post your video link in the Discord so I can EFAP it. Anyways, that's it, everybody. Sorry. Drop the Discord link. Oh, ain't Melissa. Clever girl. Already did. Sorry. Thank you, everybody. God bless you all. We'll see you on the next exciting episode. Hey, by the way, tomorrow's my birthday. Woo! 54 years old. Grandpa Mike. Oji-chan. Sayonara.